folks, I said I was going to talk about this a couple days ago. I think my whole thing is, I'm sure I'm not the only one to say this. Golden toughness needs to go. And I think the last two DLC characters have proved that we do not need it. Right, let's take a look at the Arbitrator, right? So the whole thing with Golden Toughness abilities is one, that they're get out of jail free cards on top of the Gold Toughness, right? It's not just that the Veteran gets Gold Toughness on a shout, or the Zealot can get Gold Toughness from the Bible. It is already incredibly strong abilities with an incredibly powerful after effect that lasts for quite a while after the ability is ended, right? So let's take a look at the defensive abilities of the Arbitrator, right? We have Castigator Stance, which makes it so you take less damage overall. Let me zoom in. Oh, too much. Right? 10 seconds during which 50% move speed, 80% reduced damage taken, 100% reduced movement speed penalty. And then you can get stuff like Cyber Damage does more, Cyber Mastiff does more damage, and you get more damage during the kills. Take a look at Nuncio Aquila, right? The true defensive option, right? Allies within 7.5 meters of the Aquila restore 7% toughness per second, 30% suppression dealt, 30% impact as well as slowdown and suppression immunity, and lower recoil, right? And it's a 20-second thing that has a 60-second cooldown, and then there's things that allies also gain 30% toughness damage reduction and 30% revive speed and attack speed, and it slows down enemy attacks and make them do less damage. Right, this is an incredibly powerful defensive capability that also generates toughness. Right, in a way it's kind of similar to the Bible in a way where it's a AOE effect. Obviously, it's completely stationary, but this is an incredibly defensive thing that doesn't rely on gold toughness for it to have any extra power. Then even in Break the Line, which isn't really a defensive thing, it's very aggressive. You can have Condemnation from Condemnation, where you restore 20% toughness and 50% stamina for each elite, specialist, or monstrosity hit, up to full toughness. And more often than not, you are going to be getting at least 50% toughness from this ability modifier, and it's not gold toughness. You don't need it, right? So let's take a look at the Hive Scum, right? And the other, a more aggressive, right, kind of similar to Voice of Command, a more aggressive ability. Obviously, Enhanced Desperado, it makes you immune to ranged attacks. You get rending, you get cooldown, and I think it restores toughness. Maybe it doesn't. I feel that no, it doesn't. But it makes it so that if you have things that your ranged attacks restore toughness, this makes it better to do that, and you're immune to most attacks, and you're going to be probably running Vulture's Dodge, right? It's a defensive thing, a more offensive thing with defensive capabilities, no gold toughness required. And then we have Rampage, which does restore your toughness, and you get melee power, attack speed, and damage reduction, right? You don't get gold toughness for doing this. And then the true defensive ability of the Hive Scum is the Stim Supply, which is a little shit, in my opinion, especially if you're not running stims. But, if you have the toughness stim for whatever reason, you get toughness back. And it obviously gives buffs and stuff. Now, obviously, if you pair it with stuff although actually none of this stuff really works for that ability. But the stim, we can also talk about the stims as a defensive ability that doesn't rely on gold toughness, right? You can straight up get a bunch of extra toughness. If you run, Chem Dependency, or no, Chem Mod Fortified, so sorry. If you run Chem Fortified, you get 50% toughness back for just popping your stim, and then if you want defensiveness, you can get, you can go up to regain, you can take the point of Barrage 1, right? You don't need to go to the full end of the offensive things, you can get a little more defensive with it, right? It's super protective, right? And once again, no gold toughness. So now I've been saying the same thing. We can even look at the other classes, by the way. Let's take a look. Right, I won't go super deep into them. Bull Charge. You're immune to ranged attacks while it's happening, and everyone knocked down gives you toughness back. It's a 30-second cooldown. Loyal Protector makes it so enemies are forced to attack you, but it also staggers them and makes them take more damage. Point Blank Barrage. I guess Bullet Bravado. We don't talk about this ability. It's not good for a reason. We'll look at the Psyker. I mean, the Psyker's entire kit revolves around generating 10 million toughness. But, like, you have Venting Shriek, which I think gives a little toughness, but that's probably from warp damage, though. Or Quelling Peril, so I guess that doesn't really count. You have Smite, which is a sort of offensive-defensive, right? I was looking at Brain Rupture for Venting Shriek, I'm so sorry. Yeah, but you Quell Peril, you get toughness back for Venting Shriek. You have Telekine Shield, which puts down a giant bubble, and then most people are going to be running Sanctuary, which replenishes 10% toughness a second, and allies get toughness damage reduction. And then, obviously, Scryer's Gaze, which does generate quite a bit of toughness just from your various other peril feats. And then also, where is it? Overloading from Peril's Little Warp, you can't blow your head up, right? And Warp Siphon gives you a bunch of toughness. Once again, all these things that don't rely on golden toughness. We'll look at the Veteran now, right? So, okay, I've been kind of rambling. Now let's lock in, okay? Here's what Voice of Command does. Replenish your toughness, all of it, from 0 to hero, and staggers all enemies within 9 meters on a 30-second cooldown, which means Veteran's going to be pretty much shouting every, 30 seconds. It's going to be up, right? And then, if with Duty and Honor, you get an extra 50% toughness for 10 seconds. Which can exceed your maximum toughness, right? And then you can get only in Death is Duty End. The issue with the Voice of Command, good, right? Duty and Honor, it's just, it's one thing if it gave 50 toughness for 50 seconds to your allies, but the fact that it can exceed your maximum toughness is the problem. Because here is where the issue lies with Golden Toughness. It completely makes a lot of mechanics in the game pretty much irrelevant. When you have Golden Toughness, it is quite hard to kill you. Now, it's not impossible, it's quite hard, but, as long as your monitor's on, you'll probably survive, even if you're getting shot at by a bunch of gunners, if you have Golden Toughness. Voice of Command is already an incredibly strong ability. You can run it, and it staggers enemies, even monstrosities. It'll stagger a monstrosity. Gives you your toughness back. Staggers enemies. Incredibly defensive, incredibly short cooldown. Why does it have to make you somewhat immortal in the process, right? And it's the toughness lasts for quite a while. 10 seconds ain't nothing to sneeze at in Darktide. That's a long time, right? It just the only thing that's going to get you with Golden Toughness is dogs, trappers, or getting grabbed by a Chaos Spawn or a Beast of Nurgle, right? Or, Crusher Overhead's still going to hit, but you've probably already shouted at the Crusher, so it's no longer swinging an overhead at you, right? And then let's look at Zealot, right? The Chorus of Spiritual Fortitude. Wield a Holy Relic that releases a pulse of energy every 8.8 seconds while channeling. Allies on Coherency have stun, immunity, and invulnerability. Each pulse replenishes 45% toughness to allies in Coherency. If the ally is at full toughness, they instead gain 15 max toughness up to a total of 75. Folks, it gives invulnerability already, right? Why does it need to exceed the toughness up to 75? As well as give up to 30% damage to you and your allies, or 40% toughness damage reduction, right? Obviously, I don't think you can take both of these. I'm pretty sure it locks it out, right? If I go Actually, I don't even know if this website has it proper, but Yeah, it locks it out. So it's, you know, you're going to take the increased damage. So why do you need to have the golden toughness if you're already invulnerable, stun immune, you already getting toughness back every 0.8 seconds, as well as it's pushing every enemy around you back, right? Crushers are getting pushed back, Maulers are getting pushed back, monstrosities are getting pushed back, the shotgunners, ragers, Maulers, I said Maulers twice, poxwalkers, groaners, you know, scab bombers, scab trappers, dogs, everything's getting pushed back. Why do you need golden toughness? Why? You're already one. It's fine that these abilities regenerate toughness, but why does it need to do both? Why? Let's take a look at Fury of the Faithful, right? This is another kind of like, it's more of a like offensive thing, but it has the defensive capability. It gives you toughness back, replenishes 50% of your toughness on pressing an ability. Does it give you gold toughness? No, because it gets you into the fight and gives you some toughness back, and it's perfect. And you can use this to get the hell out of. You don't have to run at an enemy. You can run behind a corner, run behind a cover with this, right? With Chastise the Wicked, and it gives you toughness back. Yet it's not gold toughness. Gold toughness needs to go, and I'm tired of pretending that it's good because it gold toughness. I really need to mod my Dark Tide so I can show you how strong gold toughness is, but I don't think I need to. You can take a Crusher Overhead if you have gold toughness and not even like lose full HP. Right? If you're at full toughness and blocking with the Crusher Overhead, usually it'll drop you down to like 10% if you're a veteran. Maybe it'll one-tap you depending. But like you can eat a Crusher Overhead if you have gold toughness and be at a relative amount of HP. And we're going to go back to the Arbitrator, who has, once again, probably, in my opinion, right below Psyker, the strongest character in the game. Right? In terms of just pure defensive capabilities. Gold toughness makes it so everyone has true grit. Okay? Pretty much, right? Now that's not... Some people are going to come for me and be like, oh, that's not exactly true. It kind of is, right? Like, it just nullifies too much damage. This game is about... Darktide is a horde shooter, first and foremost, but there are elements to it that require skill because, you know, unlike a lot of horde shooters, these hordes are shooting back at you. So positioning is actually like a thing you have to worry about in Darktide, unless you're Arbitrator or Ogryn, who are meant to be more defensive and able to kind of get in the mix and take a bunch of damage for free. Because that's the whole point of Ogryn and the Arbitrator. They're meant to be tanky. Feel No Pain exists for a reason. Now, most people don't take Feel No Pain in favor of Heavy Hitter because you don't really need Feel No Pain. Ogryn already has 10 million HP. It's fine. And attack speed will generate you toughness better than having Feel No Pain. I digress. It's not about him. Ogryn has ways to get in and be defensive about it, being immune to ranged attacks and pretty much melee attacks because you're going to hit the enemy before they can hit you. And you get toughness back on Stomping Boots with, you know, the 10%. And it gives you move speed, right? All incredibly defensive and aggressive things you can do, right? Even like Bullet Bravado gives you toughness back, but Bullet Bravado, ugh. Loyal Protector, No Pain, replenishes toughness with an additional 0.5 per enemy affected. I might have said it doesn't give toughness back, but it does with No Pain. These abilities are defensive, yet they don't make it so that the entire game is nullified, right? And once again, we'll tap Psyker. Now, depending on your definition nullified, Telekind's Shield does nullify the ranged aspect within the bubble of your friends. Nuncia Aquila, probably like... Nuncia Aquila, if gold toughness wasn't in the game, Nuncia Aquila would probably be... Actually, no, Bible would still be the strongest just from the CC. But Nuncia Aquila is so good. But it still feels like looking at Nuncia Aquila and knowing this is weaker than the Bible because of gold toughness is crazy to me. Because this replenishes toughness, it slows down enemies, makes you do more damage, right? Because, 20% recoil, blah, 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 blah. 15% damage taken, okay? I'm rambling again, and I'm kind of not making any sense. Here's what I'll say. Gold toughness completely negates the skill function of the game in terms of positioning. The Voice of Command and the Bible are already sort of get out of jail free cards, right? They are the keys to the castle. Because if you're getting, let's say, I'm gonna paint a picture in your mind. You are getting shot at by gunners. They're doing the thing where they're locked in on you, and they're absolutely plastering your shit. Voice of command already saves you. The gold toughness is just a cherry on top that does not need to be there. It is excessive. It is excessive. There we go. Gold toughness is excessive, and it needs to be trimmed. And I think, now I'm not saying that just nerf these abilities. We can buff the other abilities. We can buff Executioner Stance. Now how they would do it, I don't know. That's not really for me to find out. I guess maybe like a good to add a little more defensive capability, Executioner Stance, make it so that every headshot kill gets you 5% toughness back, right? Or like regeneration. I don't know. Stealth replenishes all toughness anyway. Stealth, it replenishes toughness, and you know what it doesn't do? Doesn't give you gold toughness. Now you're invisible, I get it, but still, you don't. It's too much. Gold toughness is too much. Okay, and especially like voice of command is one thing. Like Zealot's Bible is another thing, because this thing lasts for so long. It is, how many waves is it? Is it like, it's more than 5, I think. It's like 8 waves or something. I could be wrong. I might be adding way more. But it gives you so much toughness. I know it's a total of 75, but you can take damage and get back up to 75, right? It's not like, oh, you don't regenerate after 75. You can get knocked down to 45 or whatever and get back up to 75 in a couple of pulses. It's too strong for an ability that already gives you more damage, right? If you're taking Ecclesiarch's Call, or takes you less damage if you're taking Holy Cause, although I don't know anyone who runs Holy Cause, because you don't need Holy Cause because this thing already gives you gold toughness. Why do you need toughness damage reduction when your ability, just base, makes it so that toughness damage reduction doesn't matter because you have so much toughness that it just... Course of Spiritual Fortitude already nullifies a horde, right? You cannot get clowned on if your Course of Spiritual Fortitude is up. If the Bible is out, the horde has been broken and is being killed by your allies, right? It is dead. And then we're not even talking about when like multiple classes are running this, where gold toughness is up at all times. I'm just saying scenarios where, the Zealous is broken on the website, where there's one of these, right? Because obviously, you know, this game you can play multiple classes. You can have 4 Ogre and you can have 4 Arbitrators, blah, blah, blah. That sort of affects the balance in another way. Would you guys be in favor of them role locking, right? You can only have one of each class. I think that'd be interesting. They should try it out. But I'll just finish up by saying, gold toughness, not only does it like nullify skills like Holy Cause, it nullifies the actual game, right? Because it makes it so that you don't have to think. You can go Herder, we all have true grit, who cares about these crushers? I have gold toughness. Who cares about this Plague Ogre? I have gold toughness. Who cares about this Chaos Spawn? I have gold toughness, right? The only, it nullifies it, as I said, to 2 enemies that you really got to give a shit about, where your gold toughness is up. And these abilities aren't very long cooldowns, right? And if you're running, I usually run ability cooldown, right? I run 4% ability cooldown on pretty much most things, unless I'm playing Ogren. So that's like, what, 12% ability cooldown regeneration? That's taking it from 60... I don't know what's... I'm pretty sure it's not flat. You'll have to forgive me. But let me just pull out my calc. It's calculator for short. Calc. 60 times 0.12. That's taking off 7 seconds, right? About 7.5 seconds. So that's knocking it down to a 50-second cooldown, right? Or if we're running on Veteran, it's down from a 30-second cooldown to not a 27-second cooldown. It's different. Let me see how many it knocks out. I do 30 times 0.7, 21 seconds. Knocks it down to a 20-second cooldown already. And it's silly. It's silly. And it's even more silly. Gold toughness is broken. Remove it from the game, Fat Shark. I've been ranting for 20 minutes in unscripted, unhinged rant. If you made this fun video, I love you. Brush your teeth.